Phew, it's been a while. Go figure, huh? I finally set aside the time to play the Kentucky Route Zero uninterrupted after waiting all these years for all the episodes to come out, and then realize after recording 5 parts that, oh crap, The Last of Us Part 2 just came out. I really should marathon record the whole game before any of it airs so that no one can spoil me, because there's a weird outrage campaign and blah 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 blah. And against all odds, pulled that off, actually. I actually managed to beat it all in time. But it did lead to a weird outcome where I had like a month and a half break from this game, which was not the goal. But, you know, these episodes came out over the course of 7-ish years, right? So going away for a month is relatively minor by comparison. But just in case, I did review the wiki page for Act 1 to remind myself what happened in that, just so I can refresh myself on what happened during our first journey to try to find Kentucky Route Zero via the mines and those weird encounters, like the horse oil station and the TV and the ghosts maybe and so on. Try to load up. Anyway, apparently I did a goof. Just did a big ol' goof. In my defense, this is a confusing menu. Like, I think that it's reasonable for you to think that these numbers and these names are like... You think these are the names of these numbers, right? But I guess I screwed up. So the reason why this is crossed out is because you have to unlock it, I guess. But you actually can play Chapter 5, like right now if I want to. I played Chapter 1, so it's locked. So this... You remember I questioned this before. I was like, wait, hang on. Why it says Chapter 1, Limits and Demonstrations. Why does it let me go back? And I think in the last episode I recorded, I beat the entertainment. Beat is a weird word to use. And it's crossed out. And I was like, wait, what? I can replay Chapter 1, but not Chapter 2. This UI is strange. I didn't know the UI was strange. I was just like, is there a reason to go back to Chapter 1? Did I miss stuff in Chapter 1? What's going on? As it turns out, these Roman numerals are the chapters. Even though they're so small and almost ignorable and they don't necessarily even look like part of the interface, these giant names are the interludes. So apparently this game has 5 chapters and 5 interludes, and the interface doesn't really help you know to pick them in order and so on. I think there's a little bit of a hint here. There's these dots over here and so on. So I guess as you fill these in, you get some idea that you're like doing all the levels and so on. But I guess you probably have to do all of them in order to unlock this final interlude, or at least do Chapter 5 before you unlock this one. I don't know, this seems to be the only one you can't just jump into. So maybe this isn't that big of a deal? At first I was like, oh no, I played the chapters out of order. That could be really bad, right? Like, what if... What if playing them out of order fucks up with the entire narrative? And like, what if that, like I don't know, like, but like, if it was that big of a deal, you'd think they'd stop me from playing them out of order, or warn me, or make it really clear what order they're supposed to be played in, and so on. But the way that this is presented, like, non-linearly, I do kind of wonder, perhaps you can just play any of these chapters in any order, and they don't necessarily have an order to them, except maybe the finale. Maybe that one does have, like, conclusiveness to it. Because it is noticeable that the entertainment, which is the interlude after Chapter 2, had 0 characters in common with Chapter 1, as far as I can tell. But anyway, I'm going to try to play them in order anyway from here on out. Just so we're going to go back and do the interlude for Chapter 1, then do Chapter 2, and so on. But yeah, that's what was going on with the confusion of this interface, which don't particularly blame myself for. That's... If you don't know interludes exist in this game, you'd be like, okay, there's 5 chapters. You know, that's the chapter's number, that's its name, that's its number, that's its name. It's not really immediately clear that those are that these are separate interface elements, but apparently they are. That's a choice. I've played a lot of episodic games where there's 5 chapters, and it's never really been possible to make a mistake at picking what chapter you want to play. But a game like Walking Dead, you play linearly from front to back, whereas I don't know if it necessarily matters what order you play these in, because they might all feature completely different casts of characters, but I don't really know for sure yet. Anyway, Chapter 1 Interlude, Limits and Demonstrations. Is this also a play? Are they all like format changes from the main game, I wonder? Because the other one was that was a big change. It burst the door wide open on what I thought this game could be. Nope, point and click adventure mode, as far as I can tell. Because yeah, chapter 1 was a point and click adventure mode sort of thing, but the chapter 2 interlude was like watching a play in first person? That was a surprise. Limits and demonstrations. A Lula Chamberlain retrospective. Marking the first major public showcase of her work in over 20 years, this retrospective exhibition of work by pioneering installations artist. Oh, I was thinking of pioneering as a verb, so I was like, wait, where'd the sentence go? But she is a pioneering installation artist. Lula Chamberlain comprises a diagonal slice through time, place, and form. The pieces on display here are individually debuted over a period of 35 years, designed in Chamberlain's various homes and studios between her beloved Mexico City and her native Elizabethtown. They represent a range of scale and impact, from the intimate warmth of vertex texture fetch to the infamous visage, the latter of which requires a vertical clearance of over 30 feet. Yet these works share a confounding legacy. In each of their debut exhibitions, they were nearly impossible to install. Galleries and museums balked at the scale, power requirements, and highly skilled labor involved in maintaining these works for display. Some of their debut collapsed under the weight of the logistics, only to be successfully executed much later. And so, just as they described the outer limits of Chamberlain's range as an installation artist, the geographical edges and vertices of her itinerant home life, and the beginning of and end of her distinguished career, the works on display here also trace the extremes of our capabilities and frontiers of our patience as both viewers and exhibitors. Are we capable of viewing these works as they were meant to be viewed? Do we even want to be? I guess it's the key to being called the limits and demonstrations. Oh. Am I kind of wandering in a circle? Can I talk to these guys? They're kind of like watching along. So it's like us setting up our art exhibit. Unless we're guests. Basement Puzzle 2. Artist, Sunset, and Horse. 1976. Plaster and wire. So I'm Emily. What do you think she means by puzzle? Yeah, weird. I guess it's something you can solve. There must be symbols. Artist, sunset, horse. Or is it an anagram? Or like a code? Maybe it's not a puzzle, but it's just about a puzzle. Maybe it's a puzzle, but there's no right answer. That is kind of sad. Almost looks like a fixture you'd see in something like The Witness. The white statues, strange geometrics. Overdubbed Nam June Pike installation. In the style of Edward Packer, 1965, 1973, 1980. Magnetic tape. Handheld tape playback head. Speaker system. Voice of the artist. Computer synthesized speech. Oh, I read about this one. It's interactive. How does it work? It's a bunch of old tape, and you run this tape playback head along it, and just listen to the recordings, I guess. Let's try it out. I think you start in the middle. As Bob drags the playback head along the tape, a woman's voice issues unsteadily from the speakers. We start in the middle. Donald and Joseph are in the hallway. I am in the office. The walls are lined with filing cabinets. A few drawers hang open. The door is ajar. A massive computer looms in the corner. There are some punched cards on the floor. A synthetic voice recording, spliced awkwardly into the tape, lists out options in monotone. To examine cards, rotate 30 degrees and advance 7 inches. To leave room, rotate 17 degrees and advance 4 inches. To activate computer, rotate 200 degrees and advance 15 inches. Examine cards? So it's a text adventure. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. Encoded in the holes punched throughout these cards is a first draft of the poetic subsystem. I can't read punched cards by sight. Donald can, I think. Anyway, this version is pretty underwhelming. To leave room, rotate 17 degrees and advance 4 inches. To activate computer, rotate 200 degrees and advance 15 inches. Activate computer. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. So loud. I love it. I am now holding 2 punched cards. And on one of them, Joseph has scribbled a note. Caves. The other is blank. To insert caves card, blah blah blah. And then the blank card. Caves card? We're on a dirt trail. In the park. Or, well, it's not really a trail. It's a trail! It's more like a tendency. There tend to be fewer plants here, on the path we're walking. Now, we're walking at the edge of a massive hole. The dirt gives way to a mossy rock as the ground sinks into darkness. Joseph and Donald are following a rope down into the cave. They have computer equipment tied to their backs. So do I. We can enter the cave. That's it. That's the only choice. Yeah, that's the end of that one. So, 65 degrees, 4 inches. That's the last trip. So everything's done here now. The final resting place. Don't be so morbid. To respond, to remember a fond gesture, blah blah blah. To regret a harsh word. Remember? It's morning now. I'm in the car. I'm driving to work. This is the last recording I'll make on this tape. Then I'll drop it in the mail tomorrow. And then, who knows? I've been recording this tape for 15 years, I think. A lot of other things happened, so here is a story. When I met Donald and Joseph, they were both students, and I was in a band performing on campus. They came to my show, then we met at some bar and had a few drinks together. Joseph wanted to impress me, so he stole a metal cocktail tumbler and gave it to me. We got kicked out, wandered drunkenly until morning, finally ended up at a diner. And now I use the tumbler to store extra pens on my desk. So, I'm almost out of tape. I guess I'll just let it run out while I drive. No instructions. Hey, go back a bit. Maybe we missed something. Really? We've gone so far. Yeah, let's go back. Okay, sure. Bob moves the playback head to another strip of tape. That's the last trip, so everything's down here now. The final resting place. Yeah. Regret. It's late morning now. I'm sitting at my desk, on my lunch break. This is the last recording I'll make on this tape. Then I'll drop it in the mail tomorrow, and then who knows? I've been recording on this tape for 15 years, I think? A lot of other things happen, so here's a story. The first time I moved to Mexico, I stayed there for 3 years. I had no contact with either Joseph or Donald in the whole time. They each thought I'd done it to spite them. Maybe I had, in part. But I don't think they ever appreciated the community I had in Mexico, or... Anyway. When I came back, I didn't call them or visit the university. I ran into Donald completely by chance at a hardware store. He asked me why I hadn't called, and I told him it hadn't occurred to me. So, I'm almost out of tape. I guess I'll just let it run out while I eat. No instructions? Nah, that's the end of this tape strip. I don't think we ever reached this long one at the top here. Is it cheating to skip over there? I won't tell a soul. Think of our work, our research. You'll die in these damn cold caves. What about those men? You know they'll come back. We'll go deeper, that's all. They'll never find us. Did you hear their voices? They're not... They'll find you, but not me. I'm going back to the surface. Stop. Your stupid fight is ringing through the whole damned cave. Joseph is right, we can't stay here. I'm leaving too, but I'm not going back to the surface. I'm taking my station wagon, and I'm heading down to zero. You'll be lost forever. But we need your voice for the machine, Lula. It only recognizes your voice. I'll send you this tape when I'm done recording. I'll put it in the mail. Then you can see what your damned machine does with it. Oh. Whoa. Audio. We alright here? So she went to the zero. That's where other characters were trying to reach. But we don't know what happened still. People seem to just vanish there. They said you'll be lost forever if you go to the zero. Howdy. Visage. 1984. Unknown media. What is that made of? It's a mystery. Looks like ribbon, bandages. Have you seen The Invisible Man? It's slice a visage to build a visage. A puzzle to its owner. What? It's a poem I read. I think it was written by a computer. I think it's lovely. Is it? Oh, I thought it was fading away. It's like all built around, I guess, a vending machine? There's a giant spinning face. But you can't really make any details out. Why do I feel like the exit's gonna be gone? I guess everything always fades in out of the darkness. Yeah, this place is an impossible space. I don't know if they even noticed that, or maybe it's just me. Maybe they're in a place that makes more sense. Vertex texture, fetch, tree, television, and suspended cathode ray tube, 1968, found materials. The picture on the TV. What is that? It's a lighthouse? No, it's a weather vane. Or a windmill or something. Is it a lighthouse? A lighthouse. That's what we get out of that one. I'm ready to get away from the static right now. Oh yeah, this is an infinite circle, isn't it? We're like, wait, maybe that is the front door again. They're messing with me here. The space is wrong. Spinning coin. Suspended. Correcting for angular motion. 1976. Found materials. Didn't you have one of these? Oh yeah. I did have an old microfilm reader like this. I got it at a garage sale. Couldn't figure out what to do with it. That's my whole shed. Just a bunch of weird obsolete electronics that I still might use. Someday. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I'll just sell them for scrap when the price of lead and plastic goes up. I guess everything gets broken down eventually. What in the hell has been going on around here? The way it's all presented is so trippy. Can I just walk across the middle? No, you always have to walk in a circle. Because it has to load them all. It's like an impossibly large room, kind of, surrounding the perspective of the... It's like we're on a Lazy Susan in the middle, it's weird. Is it the entire thing again? Yeah. So, all this art was made by somebody who then was lost in the Kentucky Route Zero. They were like in a cave and they were worried about getting caught. Was it the same caves the other ones were in, I wonder? Yeah, I guess I'm ready to go. Yeah, I need to get to work anyway. I know that's proper crossed out too, yeah. That was really odd. I wonder if we'll hear about these characters in the future. I don't really know, I'm not sure about the structure of this game. I don't know what to think about it, like what to expect yet. Oh, Lula Chamberlain. Attention, Lula Chamberlain. In response to your application. Thank you for your application to the Gaston Trust for Imagined Architecture's Annual Fellowship. We received a record number of applications this year, over 100 in total, and regrettably, we can award only one fellowship position per year. As you know, our review process includes a multi-phase blind committee analysis of portfolio submissions, as well as a careful review by a panel of subject matter experts on each applicant's notability and relevance to the field. We must be extremely selective in our process so as to maintain the standards we have established over our 35 years in operation. Our panel did not select your application. We encourage you to consider reapplying next year. Many young artists and architects reapply for a few successive years before being accepted. I'm guessing not young. That's not really consoling. Sincerely, Dr. Carl Stone Norden, Architect, Gaston Trust for Imagined Architecture. Below the printed text is a hastily written note. Sorry for the condescending form letter. Love your work. Unfortunately, I just do the mail here. Your obsolete Robert. Lula folds the letter up and puts it in her handbag. Let's open the folder on our desk labeled proposals. Lula sorts through documents, all printed on a fading letterhead, Reading Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces. Proposal Site 1. Hospital. Proposed use. Auto dealership. A distillery that becomes a graveyard. A basketball court becomes a kennel. I mean, the graveyard's macabre. Let's take a look at that. Distillery still active, but scaling down operation to less than half the site. The distillery built on top of graveyard originally. Hybrid distillery graveyard could share resources. Chapel, once repurposed into bottling facility, could be repurposed into chapel. Do people really want a graveyard distillery? That's grim as a combo. I feel like they'd be seen as grim from the perspective of the distillery, and it'd be seen as disrespectful from the perspective of the graveyard. I don't know. Opposed? Let's look at the hospital becoming an auto dealership then. Hospital closed due to repeated sanitation violations. Auto dealership sanitation requirements comparatively lax. Small operation rooms could be repurposed into offices. Large cubicle-style administrative offices could be repurposed into showrooms. Are the additional floors of a hospital useful for an auto dealership? But then I realized that not all hospitals have multiple floors necessarily. I mean, if the hospital's already closed, I don't see why you wouldn't reuse it. Do the sanitation violations really matter? Wouldn't it? I imagine that none of the people that ran the hospital would run the dealership, so it's not like you have to worry about the sanitation problem being a thing. I don't know, endorsed, I guess? Oh, are we done after 2? This person's feet were distracting me the whole time. Rick clears his throat. Busy? How are you, Rick? I shouldn't complain. So, did you get my note? About the proposals, I just finished them. Oh, great. Okay. I'll tell Diane. I think she was waiting on... I don't know. So, how'd your application go? I was in the mail room when I saw that you got the letter back. Sorry, I don't mean to pry, I just saw. It's fine, Rick. I'm not going anywhere. How's your goldfish? Oh no, Lula.